Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Millie. Both my dogs are wanting to get in on this so bad right now. Oh, they're going to hop on my lap in a sec. I can feel it.
Oh.
All right, we're about to do it, but I have like a little theme song that plays for sense, so I'm
Okay.
going to go quiet for just a moment.
Okay.
Goth Yearbook After Hours.
Whoa, good evening and welcome to another exciting episode of Goth Yearbook After Hours. It is our host, as always, Eric, aka the Eric Wynn. And with me, not as always, is the co-host with the mo-host, Caitlin, aka the Caitlin D. Caitlin is taking a mental health break this evening. We love her. We miss her. We will, I'm sure, see her back again real soon next week. But with that being said, we're just going to jump right into it this evening with our guest. You might know her as the host of the hilarious podcast Whoa Dad, and that is not Whoa My Dad, as I just had to confirm about 2 seconds ago. We have comedian actress Nikki Bond on the show this evening with us. Hello, Nikki.
Hi.
How are you
Hey.
doing this evening?
I'm good, but I'm staying at this house and there's a dog. I'm dog sitting and I'm allergic and I broke out into a rash right before. So
No.
just if people can see me, just so you know, I don't always have this rash. It's the dog. It's not the herb. I promise.
That's a great way to like any date you go on, like just be like, I'm dog sitting. And it's just like, well, it's date 50 and you're still bringing up this like dog
I
sitting
still
gig.
got the dog. It's in my clothes. I can't help it. It's got all over my face.
How long have you been there now?
I've been here 3 days, 2 nights.
Oh shit. How long are you there for? How long's the
Uh, I'm here till uh two more till Tuesday, but it's a puppy, so it's
Oh,
like
okay.
I'm not sleeping. You know?
Oh, you know what? Yeah, I was about to say actually that's pretty legit, but no, puppies are kind of the worst in many ways.
Yeah, like I always wanted a puppy, and I love puppies, but then when you're house sitting someone else's puppy, and not, I didn't ask for enough money. I'm like, oh no no, this is a job.
I
Yeah.
any dog I've ever had up until now, all my dogs have been like ones that were, foster or ones that were adopted and they were already a little bit older. I just my most recent dog Millie, who at this point she's already 2, but when we got her, it was literally like really fresh type puppy, and I had no idea what I was in for. It was no, it truly was like having like a toddler newborn running around the house for the first
Yeah,
like couple months.
100%. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the dog's name?
Otis, and it's a Great Dane.
Oh, that's really fucking incredibly adorable.
Yeah, it's
Otis, we
really,
love you. We see you.
yeah.
Um, Real quickly, Nikki, I was perusing your Instagram the other day, and I saw. I hope I don't bring up anything painful here, but I saw a clip from America's Got Talent. Is that a
Oh,
real? Is that a real clip?
yeah. Yeah, it's a real clip. It happened. I went on as that character Instagirl, like
Yeah.
knowing that she would be, someone that they would hate. But the more I got into it, the more I was like, I think she's got a shot. Like, I think
Oh.
like didn't even but they cut it right, so it's like if they just did this like hi and then that's it.
Yeah.
But I was on stage for like 8 minutes and like this
Oh no.
whole thing happened, like Howie wouldn't buzz me off and then Simon Cowell like got up and made him buzz me off and it was a whole thing. Yeah,
I How long ago was this? Out of curiosity.
that was February 2019.
Okay,
Was it
so not.
February 2019 or maybe 2018? 20, who knows,
Yeah,
I don't know
time
anymore.
time is very irrelevant these days.
February 2019. Yes, it is irrelevant because you're like, okay, wait. February 2020 was like the last
It
month of
was
2020.
Yeah, that was
Something
like right when
happened.
everyone's having the conversation, like, is Corona something I need to be paying attention to? Like, that
Yeah,
was
in
what
my
February was.
podcast, that's what happened. Like my dad, I was really sick and he came to town. And in my podcast, he's like, oh, maybe you have coronavirus. And I was like, what the fuck is that? And I was like, shut up. And then he's like, it's a virus. It's from China. He's like, they had to take a swab and swab your nose. I was like, shut up, don't. And like, it was me just being like, stop. And then,
Shit.
yeah.
Man, the nose swabs. It's been so we're so God. It's been such a long like year and a half that the nose swabs sound so quaint now to me because it's been so
I
long
know,
since
but
I've
you
had to.
can't say that. You
Yeah,
can't. You're in LA, right?
I'm not. I'm actually up in Santa Rosa.
Okay. But still, like, I'm from Toronto, and us saying like, "Oh, it's been so long," they're like, "Fuck you." They're still in lockdown.
Oh,
My
yeah,
friend
that
in
is true. That's true.
Ireland, my friend in Ireland just got COVID. I was like, that's like saying you got polio. Like over here, we're like,
That's
people still get COVID.
that is kind of a trip to hear that there's and it's true. I shouldn't, there are plenty of countries and places where it's still, but it feels so, I don't know, surreal to think of that now because I can only think of it in terms of like how I was experiencing it here in California and here in Northern California specifically.
For sure, of course. But
Yeah.
I'm like you. I'm like, well, and then I'm like, oh no, it's actually still a thing. Oops. Yeah.
I brought up the clip because, well, it made me laugh. And for those of you who don't know, uh Nikki does have this like character she does online. What do you IG girl? With
Instagirl.
Instagirl, yeah. My
Yeah.
favorite is Instagirl crying about Chris D'Elia. Ooh, ooh. That one's very good.
I know. That was a bit for so long since like 2016, 2017, and then he got, called out, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh well, there goes my bit.
Ruh-roh. But yeah, it's edited, so she went on America's Got Talent, and she goes out, and they edit it, so it's like you walked out and you just go hi, and immediately, who was it that buzzed you? I don't even remember
They
now.
all buzzed me except for Howie.
Who
Um,
on the clip? Who's the one they show like one girl?
the blonde girl,
Yeah,
Julie. No, what's her name? The dancer.
yeah.
Yeah.
Juliana Huff, is that who it is?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah. She like immediately they edited it so it looks like you barely said hi, and she buzzed you based on like the tone of the voice alone or something like that. And many years ago, we're talking 2012. Nikki, you don't know, but for listeners who have watched the show a bunch, I am a recovering drug addict, and I had a real bad problem way back in the day. And one of like the last things that that I ever went and did before I went to rehab, no lie, was going to a taping of America's Got Talent in Oakland, California. And this was after a night. This was like after a particularly rough, like I'm talking about like a real rough night where I had to sleep outside of BART, which is like our Bay Area rail transit thing, because I like the evening did not go how it was supposed to go, and I had to like literally sleep outside of like BART until it opened at like 5 in the morning to go meet my family out at this America's Got Talent thing. And when they are like recording it live, because it was during like those preliminary, like when they're testing everyone out, it is like going to like a full on like what I imagine a Maroon 5 concert or Super Bowl or something. It's loud, it's chaotic, and it goes on forever because they edit everything. So every fucking person goes out there and you have to like watch like 20 minutes of it. It was to this day, and I think it's like, like that was probably like why I reached my like rock bottom and had to go to rehab shortly after. It's like the America's Got Talent.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It was so watching that clip, like, it was great. It brought
Wow.
up all the feelings for me. Real quickly too, because we're talking about we kind of tiptoe around your podcast, but your podcast, Whoa Dad, is and it's almost a year old now at this point, right?
It is almost a year old.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
it's
Yeah.
basically the premise is that your father, who was an absentee father, kind of came back into your life, and you decided to like make a podcast with him about, how would you describe, like re-indoctrinating him or getting him to
Teaching
walk with
him
dad legs?
it's like actually teaching him how to be a father.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't know what it takes, and he doesn't know what he can and cannot say. He doesn't know like when to be selfless. I just realized like I was pulling teeth with him to try and be a dad and like be present and be a part of my life, and I was always the one doing the work. And then yeah, it just was like, you have no idea what you're doing. You had a kid, you're a musician, you've been on the road your whole life, and then you've never had to have a responsibility for anyone else. And listen, it's not going well. The guy, today's episode, he literally repeated something he said in the second episode.
No,
And I
no
was
shit.
like, yeah, I was like, because what happened was I was with him at a stand-up show, and I got off stage. He's like, I don't know why you doubt yourself. Like, you're funny, you got what it takes, you look sexy on stage. And I was like, you can't call me
Ruh-roh.
sexy. Like, yeah, I was like, Dad, that's not
Screech.
what you don't do that.
Right.
But he's like a drummer, right? So he's been like on the road, and he was just so like, oh, I don't mean it that way. And I was like, but like you said it in front of someone, that's embarrassing.
Mhm.
And so he didn't get it, and that was another part of it too, where I was like, you can't do all these things. And then today he's like, yo, well then you get mad, you want to call you sexy on stage. I was like, yeah, wait, we covered this a year ago and you're doing it again? Like, what is going on?
Ugh,
So
that's rough.
it's a never ending project. Like, people are like, well, what are you going to do when you get the result? And I was like, I'm not. Like, it's never going to happen.
How long before the podcast began, like when you decided to start this podcast, had he actually like reached out to her that like began like this like chapter 2 of starts between you guys?
Well, we always like were in touch, and I guess it was like 5 years prior was the first time that we had spent alone time together,
Mhm.
like since I was a kid, where I went to Florida. And then from there, I went to Florida and hung out with him for like 3 days. But this week, where I recorded the podcast, now we do it through Zoom. But the first 11 episodes is we did a week together, but that was like the longest amount of time we've ever spent together. Um, so he reached out, like he didn't the thing is he never reached out. It was always me. And so 5 years ago I went to Florida and we got to know each other a little bit more, and it was kind of fucked up because I was like, oh, you do things like pick your toenails. I don't pick like in my toenails, but I'll like play with the nail. And then I'm like, my mom gets mad at me when I do that. And then I'm like, I got it from you. Or like, I always leave my shoes in the doorway, like actually like in the middle of the doorway by accident. I don't know why. And he does it. And I was
Really?
like, holy shit, like I got this from you and I had no idea. So after that trip, we became a little bit closer. I went and visited him. And when I say a little bit closer, I just mean like I could talk to him. Like
Right.
before, I would be like, how's this? How's that? Like very surface level, like what you would talk to an acquaintance about.
Right. Right.
And I was having like guy problems and I brought it up, and then he like coaxed me through it and he helped me.
No, no shit.
So that's when I was like, okay, you know. And then from there, we would make an effort to see each other once a year, which was a lot because we used to not see each other at all. Like, maybe I saw him once every like 2 or 3 years. So after that, we'd see each other once a year, but still like not consistent in conversation. So I guess the answer is 5 years ago, but at the same time, like now because of this podcast, we talk the most we ever have.
Right.
Yeah.
Was he immediately on board with it? Was he just kind of like down because it was like a performance sort of thing, or something that he could just like do and whatever be active in some way?
Well, he hates it. He hates podcasts. He hates the performance
I
aspect. He hates.
I get that on the podcast, but I wasn't sure if it was like him kind of. I didn't know if it was like so it's all very real, like that kind of
Yes.
bristling
Yeah,
sort
like,
of factoring of him.
oh yeah, it's very real. Like he doesn't want to be seen. I was like, you are on Wikipedia. Like I don't know what you're hiding from. You got Facebook. Like you
Right.
sign up for Facebook, you're out there. And but when I told him, he just said, sure, whatever you need. He was like, whatever you need. He was on board. And then he came and he did it. And I was like, oh, this is crazy. He's actually doing it. And it wasn't until half a year later, after I had it took me 6 months to edit it and put it all together. And then once I finally did that and I sent him the trailer, the first thing he says is, can you not use my name? And I was like, I just spent 6 months doing this.
Right.
And no, I'm using your name. Like, fuck you.
Yeah.
We just spent, you had a whole week. You had like, I don't know, 17 hours of material to tell me to not use your name. But like, they're going to know who you are. So,
As if people are gonna
yeah,
be like over there, like scratching there, like, oh,
yeah, I wonder who
is it
this
Gene
is. And
Simmons or?
yeah, and also like, Dad, you're not that famous. Like, his whole thing is that people in at Berkeley right now are studying him. And I was like, you know what? They would love to hear this podcast. Like,
Yeah,
no one is going to look down on you for your personality. They're going to like you more. That's why people are fans of like certain bands because they like their personality and they like more open they are,
yeah.
you know? So, yeah, he was pretty quick to jump on board. But since then, it's been a whole like mind fuck. Yeah. It's just trying to manipulate him to do every episode.
Speaking of manipulation, I was cracking up at the clip you posted the other day where it's him trying to essentially manipulate you and I believe your partner too to fold his laundry for him.
Yeah. Yeah. Like he was asking, yeah, he was asking us. He kept going, "Oh, I'm gonna go do my laundry now. Oh, I better go do my laundry." Like we would be like, "Oh, don't worry, Bobby, we'll do your laundry for you." Yeah.
Who I could not think of even like my closest family members. I could never imagine a scenario where I would like unless like they were ill or something like that, or it was a kid of
Yeah.
mine or something like that. But otherwise, I could never imagine like a scenario where any family member would just keep hinting at it and finally be like, "Okay, I'll go do your laundry for you."
Yeah. Hey, Dad, you want to know what I really want to do for you? Because you weren't around my whole life and didn't do anything for me. I would love to take your skid mark underwear and fucking wash it. Like, who are you, you sicko? He's so ignorant.
that is
Sick.
that's fucked up.
Yeah. Because the thing is, like, people who are around their parents, if my mom was like, "Can you do my laundry?" Sure. I know you. Even my stepdad, I wouldn't want to at
Mm,
all, but I would do it, you know?
right.
But I'm like, when it's a parent that you don't know that well, like, you don't have that kind of comfort and connection that it's like doing a stranger's laundry. It's
Right.
gross. Yeah. Yeah.
I get it. I basically do not have a relationship with my biological father anymore, but I was very close with my stepfather my whole life. Sadly, he passed away a couple of years ago, but even then, I could certainly never imagine doing my stepdad's laundry, let alone if my dad did come back into my life right now. I could never
Right?
imagine any
Right?
scenario where it's like, "I'll let me grab that basket, Dad." I would
Yeah, let
love.
me do
That'd be
that.
great if he did call me sexy though. Like if he saw me performing in some way and he was just like, "Hey, you looked real sexy up there."
You
Sport,
like that.
sport
Yeah.
champ.
Or
This that would it would hit
the
all the
sport.
acceptance I've ever needed in my life. So we did get some questions from the listeners and from the audience and all that. If you're down to try out a few,
Yeah.
um, actually, you kind of had already talked about it a little bit, but someone wanted to know how are you and your dad the same, and how are you guys different?
Yeah, so we're the same in that we're a bit we're a couple of doyoys. I'll say it that way. We're a bit ding dong. Like, and I know this because my boyfriend, when he's here, he's like, "Oh, great, two Nicoles." Like, that's my, they're like, it's like
Right,
two
right.
Nickies, you know? And then, or now he'll be like, "Okay, Bobby." So I think that we are both like kind of spacey. He's way more spacey than I am, but we are messy and we can like leave stuff places and we don't realize it.
Mm-hmm.
And we also, I would say we're very similar in terms of like spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing that we can like bond over. It's is the guy believes in a lot more than I do, but we have that. And then we're very different in that he and I'm really, I don't bail on people.
you don't you don't abandon your daughter.
I don't abandon people.
Yeah.
I'm super loyal.
Mm-hmm.
Like now he won't make plans with me because he's like, well, I just don't want to let you down. If I make a plan and I cancel, and I'm like, if you don't make a plan, I never know if it's ever going to happen
Right.
again. Like, so I think the other thing is I think about the other person a lot, and he doesn't. I'm much more selfless, and he's very selfish.
Yeah. Is it like, is it fair to say there's some like narcissism that's there?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's I feel like narcissistic parents are such a thing that I think we're all realizing. And I want to use the word narcissistic. My therapist says narcissistic a little bit, but I think it's selfish.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a difference between narcissism and selfishness, because narcissists like have absolutely no remorse.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. Well,
and they,
their brain literally will trick them. It deludes them to constantly think that like they are always in the right and that they're the victims. You know, where selfish people, I think they have a little bit more awareness. You know,
yeah, yeah, my dad has a lot of guilt, but
well, that's good.
it's but it's true. Yeah, it's good, but it's also like guilt. He feels sorry. It's like he feels guilty about what he's done, but in a way where he's like, I've done so bad. I've just
Mm.
done so bad, which is kind of narcissistic, but I don't know if he fully is. And then instead of, and like when we've gotten in fights where we aren't talking, he's like, well, I couldn't call you because I just felt so bad. And I'm like, but now you've left me hanging and now I'm fucked up. So I can't tell if he's narcissistic, but definitely selfish. Everything is for him, but no, he's not narcissistic. Because like my dad, when I was in San Francisco with him, there was like this homeless guy that was bothering everyone in the line for the trolley or whatever it is,
Yeah.
like the
Right.
train. And the homeless guy was like trying to sell tickets to everyone, and smart gig. I would have bought it. And then he was asking for money and people were like getting annoyed, and my dad like went up to him and said something, and then the homeless guy hugged him, and I was like, whoa, ew, but also whoa. And then like left, just walked away and left everyone alone. And I was like, what did you say? And he was like, I'm not gonna say it, which is so, that's selfish. Like, I'm like, no,
A little bit
because
of a
he's always
savior complex in that moment.
yeah, like what? Just tell me what you said. And anyways, I guess he said like, take some money, God's with you, some religious bullshit from AA, whatever.
Let
And
go and
then
let God of these tickets.
that is my trigger sentence. That let go and let God. I'll get into that after. So he said whatever he said to him, and then was like, the guy walked away. And that's like, to me, that's not a narcissist, because a narcissist would do that and then they would turn to you and be like, look what I just said to that
Yeah.
person. They would do it for a reason, but he was just like very empathetic towards that person.
Yeah. And they would bring
Yeah.
it up like if you ever brought up something, they would bring up that moment like, yeah, you call me this. Look at what I fucking did. I saved that guy in San Francisco's life
Yeah.
with my
yeah.
words.
Yeah. Where he doesn't want to talk about what he's done for people.
Well,
And that's, I think, the difference. But
and that's
yeah, but the let go and let God,
yeah.
that is his reason for never contacting me.
Wait, what?
Yes. This is, I am like, AA, sure, it's saved many people. Absolutely. I don't know if you went to AA for your addiction, but like, I'm sure it does great things. But that let go and let God took my dad away from me. Like, he just basically believed let go and let God, and he just said, I'll let go and let God. It's in a couple episodes where he's like, I'll let go and let God, and when she's ready to reach out, she'll reach out. And I was like, I was 9.
That is such bullshit. Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's bullshit.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's lazy selfishness.
I did go through AA, like a mixture of like AA and NA, but then I actually went through the steps with AA post rehab. I will say like it did save my life at the time. It saves a lot of people's lives. I have not gone to it in a long while. One of the things that did always, and when I say a long while, I mean like several years now, more or less. But no hate to the people that still go do it. Everyone
Oh,
does their own
and
thing.
he still does. And like, yeah, you need it. You need that support.
I will say that is what you just hit upon though is something that, and it's actually something that bothers me even with because I'm like a huge proponent of therapy. Like I think everyone should go to therapy, but the one thing that does always bother me about therapy, AA, and when I say AA, I mean specifically when you work with like a sponsor and all this other stuff, is that when you're working with someone, you're always they're always gonna treat you like you're the good guy or that you're the victim, and it does, like, I feel like a lot of people get a free pass or get like their bullshit cosign, so to speak, because like that situation is perfect. Realistically, like someone should have told him like, well, no, the right thing to do is to reach out to your daughter and mend that connection. But obviously he was working with someone, or maybe not, he might just like drummed it up himself, but like I feel like at some point something was co-signed to his bullshit. I was like, you know what? You're right. You should just let go of it, and God has a way, and like she'll turn up when the time is right. Which I guess like that was like, his punishment for that then was that you showed up with the fucking podcast that called him out on the spot.
Exactly.
But it is, I don't know, a lot of that kind of mindset and circular thinking, I guess, sometimes bothers me with that sort of stuff, because it just allows people to constantly be placated into thinking that they are absolved of their actions, and I do think that
Exactly.
there should be someone there to, well, I mean, making amends, that's a big part of your step work. I would have imagined that he should have reached out to you to make amends about abandoning you.
Exactly. But instead he just let go and let God till when I came around. And it's like, you're the parent.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That,
Yeah, it's kind of like, can you please explain it to them better? So
yeah.
it
I
was kind of like a way of letting himself off the hook.
Exactly. That's like a big part of why things don't. I'm not talking with like my biological dad. Basically, is that a few years ago he like sent my sisters and I. I won't get into like the too dirty details of airing all the dirty laundry about, but more or less was implying like I'm the one always trying to make like an effort to make this relationship work. Like you guys should just know where to find me. And then like, but it went real like south real fast in his email to the point where he's like, "You're all dead to me." And what's fucked up is I'd sent him like an email, like, because I just purchased my house like a few months before that, and I'd sent him like an email. I was just like on his birthday. I mean, it wasn't. I'm not gonna lie. Like there was a lot of reasons why I was not trying to facilitate a good relationship with him up to that point to begin with. But I had sent him like an email. I was just like, oh, here's the address. Like, if you ever want to like visit, feel free to. Blah blah blah. Like a very like all intents purposes, like that's like a nice email to get considering you're kind of a shitty father to begin with. And instead, like I get like that email where it's just like, you never make an effort. It's like, I invited you to my fucking house. I don't even know where you live. So
Wow.
yeah, I get it. And that was always his kind of mindset, was just, and it's not just with us. I think that's how he is with a lot of people. And I personally think that there's a little bit more of like a narcissistic thing. And I think it's because of addiction, blah, blah, blah. But not to blow up his spot, but anywho, there is a lot of that kind of thinking, which was always like, well, I think they should come to me, not me come to them. It's like, you're the parent though. Like,
yeah.
So
you kept me. Okay.
Yeah.
So you show up? Yeah.
It is what it is, but it is interesting too to go back all the way to the original question, which was like, how are you the same, how are you different? Those little things like you were talking about, like leaving your shoes in the doorway or this or that.
Yeah, things that seem like they're conditioning, but they're not.
Do you think that you said that you are there for people? Is that, I mean, no matter what, we are obviously subconsciously conditioned by like our uprising, our upbringing, and all the shit that happens to us. But do you think, was there like a conscious choice you made when you were young to be that way because of that, or do you think that that's just also like, did it just seem like that like naturally came about to you to like always be there for people, and so then it made you even more like cognizant when you're older, like fuck, like I just know to naturally do that, and this motherfucker isn't doing that?
I think that that part didn't have to do with my dad. I think that had to do with my mom. She was a single mom, and it was me and her for a while.
Shouts
Like
out, mom.
until I was like sixth grade. Were you with your single? When did
Yeah.
your mom get married?
So it's funny. Her and my stepdad, they never actually married. That was just like her longtime partner. And in fact, they actually split, and she was with like another person for a while. But he was always like a part of our lives. Like he was just always our stepdad, more or less.
Yeah. But how old were you when they
Oh, when
met?
my parents split, I
When she met the
gotcha. That's a good question. I think I might have been like 6 or 7. I was a little bit younger. My sisters were a little bit older, but
Okay. So yeah, my mom, I think that I became when you have oh, and you have siblings. I'm an only child.
yeah,
I became I'm not going to bail and all that with her because I saw a lot. You know, she went through a lot and she couldn't hide it.
right.
Like I would, so I think I grew up really fast and I became like codependent and like I gotta be the one to like be happy and I gotta be the one to get you out of this. And so I learned how to show up and like be there um to a fault. To a
Yeah.
fault.
I know that one. I well not completely, but I know what it was like to be like the role of the caretaker in that sense to a fault
Yes,
because of that. Yeah. Um
totally.
what does your mom and stepdad think of
My dad.
yeah, and the podcast in general and just like the whole are they like about it?
I won't let them listen. I don't want my mom to listen because I don't want her to have any sort of input, which she would, and she'd be like, "That's not true." When he said this, that's not true. And I think that there's part of it that because she doesn't like him, she'd be like really good at like connecting us and making sure like I hung out with him because I wouldn't want to hang out with him because I was like, this is a strange man and I don't want to be alone with him. I was really scared.
Right.
I bailed a lot when we would try and hang out. Um, but then he fucked up when I was in university and like made me a promise and couldn't keep it. And I was heartbroken. And so my mom's like, "You're done." So the podcast, she likes that I'm calling him out, but I think there's part of her that's kind of like bugged. I mean, I'm just saying this without her saying it, but bugged that's like I'm have this with him where she would love to do a podcast with me,
I was gonna say like oh she's like where's the whoa mom?
Yeah, yeah. But she like likes him calling him out. But the thing too is like my dad's so funny. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's such a
He is,
character,
yeah.
and yeah. Like I did the podcast because I was like, we have issues. I had other friends that are in his situations that don't know how to connect to their kids, and I was like, wait, why aren't you doing this stuff? And then I was like, oh my god, I should do a podcast teaching my dad how to be a father so it can help people like him, but he's also really funny and the world needs to see him.
Yeah.
So my mom, I think, like might not like that aspect of him being funny and everyone like the thing is it's kind of backfiring. I didn't want people to hate him. I wanted people to love him because he's so funny. But if you hate him, it's kind of backfiring. And
Yeah.
then my stepdad, he is really supportive of anything I do. I was like, you can listen to it, but my mom can't. And that was the rule, but he hasn't. I don't think. I don't know if he knows how to listen to podcasts. But my stepdad is very like wants us to have a relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's good. My
yeah,
we Caitlin and I joke about it a lot, but like I'm always nervous about like I always joke about my mom like listening to this because like there's some episodes where we get real raunchy, this, that, and the other, and there's times where I joke about her like not wanting to listen. And I always try to like tell myself like, oh, she doesn't listen because she doesn't like really know about podcasts that much. She doesn't even know how to like find them on her phone. But then like every single time I see her, she'll like I just helped her move into a new house recently, just like 2 weekends ago, and she was like, "Oh, have you heard of this? Like, I've been listening to this one podcast, Dax Shepard. You know, he has a podcast." And I
Oh
was like,
my God.
you bastard." But no, I'm also
Oh
kind of
my
happy
God.
that she doesn't listen to it. My one of my sisters listens to like practically every episode, and then because I have like selective memory and selective hearing about stuff sometimes, so then she'll like text me like when I talk about like an old family memory of some kind, she'll be like, "That's not what happened." And I'm like, "Well, I have
No, it's
ADHD. It
out
happened to the
there.
best of my memory."
Yeah, it's out there. We're over it. If you want to
Yeah,
talk about it, start your own podcast.
that's fucking right. Dana, you heard that
Yeah,
here first.
yeah.
Someone wanted to know if you could have any TV dad to replace yours for a week, who would you choose and why?
That's a good question. Um, I know this answer because I would always be jealous. Who was it? I'm trying to
While
think.
while you're ruminating on it, I will
Yeah.
say the first one that came to my head, which is like such a like weird one to even like say, but Sandy Cohen from the OC. I remember when
Oh my God. Yeah.
yeah, right?
You know what? You said. Yeah, because I was thinking of like stuff I watched when I was a kid, and I just rewatched the OC during
Oh, nice.
lockdown.
Yeah.
The best. Sandy Cohen is the best dad ever.
Yeah,
That's
I
so
agree.
cool.
He-
Because I was like thinking about when I was a kid and like what I liked, like the dads I liked. Uh, like I loved Mrs. Doubtfire. Like I wanted that to be my dad.
yeah, that party that Sally Field breaks up, like I'm always like, man, if that was like
Yeah.
the worst that my dad was doing, like things would have been all right, I think.
Yeah, he did all that. So that would have been, but Sandy Cohen, absolutely 100%. Now as an adult, I'm like 100% the best dad ever.
Yeah, I'm into it. I also liked God, what's his name? I don't know if Dan. I was gonna say John, but that's his real name. John Goodman, Dan Connor from Roseanne. At least like in the
You
OG
like
era.
Dan Connor?
Yeah, like in the first couple of seasons of Roseanne, I remember he was like, because he was just, he was like an actual legit blue collar, hardworking dad, but he'd like, give the kid like a Nikki, and he would like, he actually had like kind of real, because that was always what was so great about the first couple of seasons of Roseanne was like, it felt a little bit more real. It wasn't like in Growing Pains or Step by Step, where they're good dads, I guess, but they're written to be like the most plain, like their good advice would be like, well, son, you shouldn't cheat on your test. And like that was it. It's like, well, I guess you're a good dad, but like there's nothing real about it. But he
Yeah.
was like a sitcom dad that kind of felt a little bit more real. Like he wasn't like the best dad ever, which made him, in my
Yeah,
opinion, the best dad ever.
yeah, he seemed a bit lazy. Because
Yeah.
I was thinking Full House. Like I was thinking
Oh,
about
well,
those dads.
those are three great
Yeah.
dads right there. Danny, that's another Dan right there.
Yeah, I think that Uncle Joey would be a really fun dad.
Yeah. Do you watch the newer one? Is it still a Fuller
No.
House? He actually is a dad now
No,
on the
do you?
newer ones. I do. Shamefully, my partner, whenever she catches me
Wait.
watching it too, she gets the look on her face is like so disgusted, and I'm like, it's like when she like if she catches me eating
Yeah,
food over the
you
sink.
You watch Fuller House? This is not okay.
You're gonna like exit the Zoom right now. You're like, I'm done here. I know it's not.
Wait.
I know. Okay, don't you ever watch like something and you know it's not good, but it's like shitty food, like it's like comfort food or something like that. But you know, like while you're watching, you're like,
For
this isn't
sure.
good.
I would probably go back and watch Full House.
Mm.
But Fuller House, the new one, I don't think so.
It's so
I
it's
have
so
no
bad.
nostalgia.
There's no redeeming quality to it. There's nothing I can come back and be like, you know what? It's actually they got this, that, and the other. It's like it's so bad.
Well, I watched 3 episodes when it first came out
Mhm.
because it's I can get it like if it's one of those shows when you're like sick and you're like I just need something.
That it is.
light.
I will say it is that for me. I don't like regularly watch it. It's been probably like there's 6 times I think since it came out where it was like 6 different days where I'd like power through a whole bunch of them, and usually it's like if I was sick or like on the couch or something.
Amazing.
Since you watched the first couple episodes, you probably like how like especially those first couple, but you know how like they do like a lot of applause breaks, and it's like a lot of fan service in those first couple episodes where it'd be
Yeah.
like the whole series is like that, and it's so fucking obnoxious. Like you keep thinking like it's not going to be like this anymore. They would bring back characters where I used to watch the shit out of that because I was a huge TGIF kid. I was like a latchkey kid growing
yeah.
up, so
Yeah, same.
they are bringing back characters where I'm like, who the fuck would possibly remember that character except the actor who played it and the scriptwriter who made it? Like maybe then the screenwriter might not even remember writing that episode, but
Do you have
they bring it
example?
on. The whole audience is like, whoa, it's Darnell. It's like no one remembers this fucking character.
Do you have an example of a character?
One of them, I don't remember the guy. I'm not going to remember the kid's name, but it was like who Michelle shared her first kiss with, like some boy from her like kindergarten or preschool class. And he comes back, and the audience is like hollering as if they've been like salivating, waiting for this guy to make a return. It was like one fucking episode from like season 1 or 2 that you'd have to remember from like literally 3 decades ago.
That's so good. You're making me want to watch the show just to see that.
Well, what's funny too is because I haven't, to be honest. I actually haven't watched the last season or two, but I've watched at least
That's
3 seasons.
good. Be honest.
But it's so funny with like after season 2 and season 3, they were so caught up in like, well, we just want like we want to feel like you're so excited to watch this show. So like they'll have like the new characters, like they'll enter the screen for the first time in season 2, after like their Netflix break.
Yeah.
And the audience will like go fucking crazy as if like we haven't, it's like, we just saw that guy like 3 months ago. It's so self, like, I don't know, grandizing, and like it's trying to like create like its own like mythos. But when you're like laying on the couch, blanket over you, eating like ice cream, you're not feeling well, it's hitting the spots.
Yeah, you need happy fake shit.
What are your your shows like that? Like your shows where you're like I know this is fucking terrible, but I'm in this.
Well, as I said, I rewatched the OC and I couldn't have been
Yeah.
happier in my life. Like I was just loving, like me and my boyfriend were watching it. Like
Did
we
you
were so addicted.
did you watch the whole thing?
Whole thing. It
Is
made
it
me realize I had never seen the end.
Yeah, after, cuz I remember like middle of season 1 to middle of season 2 is what I remember being like just the golden peak moment of it, maybe even all the way to the end of season 2. And I remember season 3 and season 4 was when it started getting a little weird, like Ryan, especially after Marissa dies, when Ryan's like a underground like UFC fighter and like
Yeah, I didn't know that happened and I was like, this is getting weird. I had such a good time and then I was like, oh no.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Summer and Seth though, they in my opinion they really do keep that thing going.
They really do keep it going.
Mm-hmm.
It never ends. It's great. So but that's still kind of good. I'm trying to think if there's any other. Honestly, if there was a kids show that came on that I used to watch, like I used to watch in Canada, Mr. Dress Up. You guys didn't have Mr. Dress Up here, did you?
I don't think so. I've never even heard of that.
If it was on TV, I'd probably watch it.
Mr. Dress Up, is it? I'm googling it right now, real quickly, because I'm just curious.
It's a
now.
guy that goes
up.
to his like little box. He has clothes and he puts on all different costumes, and he has like 2 puppet friends.
Oh, okay. I'm looking right now. It's so funny because I was just talking to someone this week about some famous like puppeteers. Like I don't know if you remember Waylon Flowers and Madam. Do you remember that?
Oh.
I don't know how I've never. Wow. Okay, I'm looking at this Mr. Dress Up right now. This so seems like up my alley too. It looks
very good.
It looks vaguely familiar.
He dresses up. He teaches you how to draw.
I thought you were gonna say he teaches you how to dress.
Dress. He teaches you how to cook.
One of his puppets are creepy looking. I'm not gonna.
I need to see what they.
He has like a dog. I'm guessing the dog was like the dog and a little boy with like. The little boy puppet's very creepy. It looks like something that could be in a horror movie right now. For the listener at home, he has like macaroni and cheese colored like string hair and like rosy cheeks. He's porcelain though.
What his dolls look like. So that one's voice is like this. Like how Mr. Rogers puppets had like that weird old voice. Like this one. And that's what
I'm gonna have a nightmare about that now tonight. That voice. Come to the light, Danny.
Yeah, when they have that little lip, and you don't know where they're from. Like Mr.
That's fucked up. Well, this is a good segue question. Then, someone want to know who were your early comedy influences? Mr. Dress Up. You're like, I based my whole career on Mr. Dress Up.
Mr. Dress Up really had an impact. Robin Williams from Mrs. Doubtfire, couldn't talk about that movie enough, and
He does. Mike Myers, yeah, both great with voices.
Yeah, true.
Because I always forget, that's always like a kind of forgotten part of the whole Mrs. Doubtfire thing. But like he is like a voice actor, and he wants to do voice acting. He does Robin Williams is obviously like a crazy like acrobatic voice talented kind of guy, and he does like a lot of it in that movie. Not just Mrs. Doubtfire herself, of course, but all the other people.
Yeah, no, when he does all of it.
Mm.
I could recite it, but I'll save you that.
Yeah, that scene too with him and his brother Harvey fire scene where they're doing like the different looks and he's like trying out each one with a different voice and different style. I
Yeah,
could watch
yeah.
that. Like I could watch a whole movie of him doing that. Really.
Oh, that was so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And even when he's like backstage with when he's on set and he has the dinosaur and he's like doing little
Yeah.
dinosaur hits. Yeah, all of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like a huge thing. Mike Myers in Wayne's World. I watched Wayne's World all of the time. Like I'd probably watch it. I watched it every day. Like I wouldn't finish it, but that'd be what I would watch in the morning for like 2 years.
Nice.
And then Colin Mockery. Do you know
Yeah.
who that is?
From
Yeah.
Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah.
And like other stuff, but that's like how us in America know him. But that's
Yeah.
a big Canadian guy right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Real wow, I'm really loud and proud Canada. But I wasn't into stand up at all.
Mm-hmm.
Never. And so I was always into these like charactery actors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Did you take did you like take improv classes and like acting classes when you were younger?
Yeah, I took young people's theater when I was younger, but I was too shy. Like I would never I did like an okay job, but I was too shy to break out of my shell. And even when I graduated high school, I was in like the high school play and I played Shirley Valentine, which is this like how do you know who Shirley Valentine
What
is?
remind me, because that sounds
It,
very familiar.
it's this movie, this like British movie about this middle-aged woman who has like a midlife crisis and she goes to Greece and has an affair on her husband. And
Sounds like a romp.
it was like, yeah, it was like raunchy. And then I did it as a high school play and I played her. So I was like this playing this like middle-aged woman, like fucking this Greek guy. It was weird.
I'm looking at the pictures too, and it does look like, wow, it looks like what a lot of women were probably like fantasizing about back in the day. Probably still now,
Yes,
but
like my friend's mom came up to me after and was like, I related to you so much. I was like, I'm 18.
she's like sobbing. She's like, you told my
Yeah,
life story up there.
that's what it felt like. And I was like, wow. So that was weird.
That's
That was
traumatizing.
weird. Yeah. But then like after that, when I would audition for stuff, like to get into theater school, I was too shy. Why am
Mhm.
I talking about this? What was
Hush,
the
hush.
question?
Why do I? I asked you about if you did improv and. Oh, so then
Oh,
how did you get to stand up though? Like if you were more if you were more like into the
acting.
acting and all that aspect of it, how did you end up like deciding to start trying to do like the stand up aspect?
What happened was with waitressing out here. So I did like Yes, I Can See Groundlings, UCB. I did all of it. And I was waitressing, and there was 3 tables of people within 1 week that asked me if I did stand up. And I said no. And they said, you should. Because I'm very snarky. And like, if you say something to me, I'll come back like that.
Yeah.
I wasn't polite. I wasn't a polite waitress. I was just very like, I'll call you out on your shit. And then people loved it. And then they would like give me more shit and I would call them out more. Or I'd like call out a woman's husband and be like, this guy, what the fuck are you doing with him? And I would just like say stuff that I shouldn't say.
Just
And
like it gets like way too like uncomfortable like at this restaurant like, and look at this fucking asshole. Your boss is like, whoa.
I would just be like, yeah, okay, all right. Or I'd be like, you're being a like I would just call people out and make fun of them and because I became comfortable there. And then yeah, and then within 1 week, 3 different tables asked me if I did stand up. And the third time I was like, fine, I'll try it. And then I did. And I did it like a class, a stupid class. And the woman who taught it was also a casting director. So I was like, okay, well, I'm still like doing the acting thing and getting my face out. But then once I stood on stage and it was easy,
Yeah.
it's not easy. I'm going to tell you that. When I say it's easy, I'm like, it was easy then. It is not easy now because when you care about something. But I was like, oh, this is like really fun. And I really had a hard time transitioning. It took me over a year. I was like, I'm good at this naturally. I'm not afraid, but I really want to act. Like I
Right.
really just want to be an actor. And then I had to kind of commit. It's either like you commit to stand up or you don't. Like you can't be in the middle. And if you are
Right.
in the middle, you can, but like the good comedians don't respect you.
Right. That's true.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, they know where they know you're just a flip flopper. And there's nothing a comedian hates more than some actor who is like only doing stand up to get credits to get more roles in acting. Like
Right.
you
Yeah.
have to take it seriously or else we hate you.
How long have you been doing it now?
Whoa, I had the answer. 5 years.
Shit. That's a large chunk of time.
It is 5 years or 4 years? 5 years? 5 years. Yeah.
Have you done any post quarantine like gigs yet, or you
Oh yeah. I did. Well, that's the thing is like I'm like 5 years, but at the same time, I don't think it's 4 years or 5 years. I'm gonna be honest. I think it's
well, we're
like
gonna quiz you at the end and we'll find out then.
okay, um, because of like COVID, it's like I didn't do it all year,
Right,
but
right.
I started doing stand up shows towards the end of COVID or like kind of in the middle when this second wave didn't hit yet. And I was doing like underground shows like that were outside. So
Nice.
yeah,
Did you do any like the Zoom type ones?
I did. Yeah.
How did
Yeah.
you feel about those?
I didn't hate it as much as everybody hates it.
Yeah.
I didn't expect to do well. I just treated it like FaceTiming someone. And
That's
I found it really helped me with like my natural cadence
yeah.
as opposed to when I step on stage, I'm like, here's the show. I think Zoom helped me personally as a comic to just talk and not like get into the performance zone and become more natural with it.
Yeah, I think that's great. Todd Glass actually, I was just hearing him talking about it the other day, where he was like I actually loved it, and he said that it reminded him about enjoying it for the reasons that he enjoyed it, and he's like he talked about how so many comedians he heard were saying like, well, it was hard because you couldn't read the room, you couldn't read the energy, this, that, and the other. He's like, well, we're giving too much power to the audience then. If that's what you're
Yeah.
always basing off of, he's like, you should be able to go up and just kind of like know if what's coming out is like bullshit or if it's good. And he's like, don't get me wrong, like I had nights where it wasn't good, but he's like, it wasn't. But I knew when I was doing good, and I didn't need like the energy or the reaction to go off of that. He's like, I just thought of it as like working out basically until I could go back out into the field again. And I thought that was a great way of like thinking about it.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, exactly. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
We love it. Shouts out Todd Glass, we love you. Someone wanted to know, oh, this kind of falls in line with our Fuller House conversation, but someone wants to know, what's the trashiest food you enjoy to eat?
The trashiest food.
Yeah. Banana peel and fish skeleton on a garbage can lid.
Okay, the trashiest food. Well, it's not trashy, but I'll tell you the trashiest, but it's not the one thing that I love the most. It's not trashy, but it's like really bad for you is beef fat and pork fat.
Yeah.
So like I will take like steak and I will or whatever it is, I will like get the fat off of the steak or whatever meat it is and I will put it in the oven and just like
Oh,
char it
fuck.
and just take it and eat it.
that is so gnarly. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. Yeah.
Have you ever
It's like
go on, sorry?
well, it's like that was my obsession. Like at work where I worked with, they had like steaks and it was all family style, and everyone knew that I love the bone and the fat cap. And it, like we would eat people's food because it wasn't like off their plates; it was like in the middle. So it was kind of like if you were at a catering event,
Right.
and so I would take the bone and I would use my fingers and like dig the fat out of like the little hook, and then I would just have like fat everywhere, and everyone in the back kitchen would be like, "Oh God," and because I was obsessed. So it's not trash
Holy
because
shit.
it's like expensive, but that is it's gnarly. It's like
that is
sick.
I like that actually. I think that's great. Have you ever seen the movie The Great Outdoors
No.
with John Candy and Dan Aykroyd? There's like a scene at one point where it's like some ridiculous thing where they're at like a steakhouse and it's like if John Candy can eat this like 30-ounce like steak or something ridiculous, then the whole family eats for free. and like he eats it, and all that's left is like the fucking charred bits and the fat. And Dan Aykroyd looks at the chef like, you know, you don't expect him to eat all that too. And the guy's like, it's eat all of it for you guys to eat free. And I always think about that when I eat steak fat, because I actually do kind of like it sometimes, but I can't get too much into it. Only a couple bites, but I get a little bit into it. But man, throwing it into the oven, I never thought about that. That's the trick, huh? You throw it in the oven and let it.
Yeah, or even put it on a pan. Like when you have a ribeye and there's that huge fat cap, don't throw it out. Put it on a pan. It will get crispy. It'll be the best thing you've ever had.
All right, I'm actually gonna do that for real because I'm curious now.
It's
What
so good.
What about like a 7-Eleven or like something that's like
Oh.
really like that? Like, is there anything like if you go into 7-Eleven, what's gonna be what are you gonna grab that you
Sour
know is
cream.
bad? What? Sorry, that.
Sour cream and onion ruffles.
Oh, nice.
That's my favorite. I like chips a lot. I used to love like I used to love like pogos and stuff like that,
Yeah.
but they gave me heartburn, so I had to stop eating them. But I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I feel like, yeah, I'm a big chip person. So if I'm like in those places, I'm gonna spend my money on chips. I'm not into the like frozen burritos or anything anymore. I ate that so much as a kid from Costco that I'm like, I
Yeah,
just want chips.
I get that. There's a lot of food that like I would consume the fuck out of as a kid that now I just can't because I like still get like there's like a visceral thing that I
Yeah.
remember. Like one thing so gross, but when I was real young, we'd buy like those Foster Farm like corn dog boxes that you stick in the freezer. And as a kid, I would like microwave like I'm not lying, like 4 or 5 of them, and I would like I was like,
See, I did too. I
Yeah.
did 2 of them. Like, yeah, I go
that's
back.
conservative. That's better at least. 2 is like what I should. I think what I
Yeah.
would do is I would do 2, and then like I'd eat it, but then I'd be like, you know what? Like another 2 would do this trick.
Did you? Yeah, because that's the thing is that when you have like especially a single mom, like I was making
Yeah.
my own food, so
Mm-hmm.
I would do the same thing or like strudels, toaster strudels in the
Yeah.
morning, and I would just do the strudel, but I would save the icing for after and just eat the icing out of the bag, like.
Oh wow.
But I would eat a lot of stuff. I would do double a lot. Did you wrap your corn dog in paper towel and then put it in the microwave?
I was about to ask you the same thing. Okay, so yeah, I would actually because otherwise it would get kind of soggy. But then I learned. It's so unfortunate that you don't learn stuff till you're older. But it wasn't until I was much older that I learned like, oh, if I'd use the oven, actually, makes it crispier, makes it taste more like a corn dog at a fair. And so now I'm bummed that like all those corn dogs I consumed, I could have at least made them a little bit better than.
But our parents wouldn't have let us use the oven,
Yeah, true.
right?
I-
Like we weren't.
Yeah.
We could only do the microwave.
I still remember when I finally learned to use the oven. My mom, what was it? It was something for Thanksgiving, and it was like a big deal because she was going to show me like how to just hit literally the preheat button and like start. But I remember before then, it might as well have been like Egyptian hieroglyphics because it just all of it was so confusing to me and baffling. And the idea of like throwing anything in there would have just honestly sent me into a spiral.
Yeah.
Ovens are a big deal. We are hitting the hour mark, but there's one more. What's a quick one we can knock out here? Someone wants to know what's a favorite ride of yours at Disneyland. I feel like we get that one a lot.
So I've only been to Disneyland once.
Whoa! How long have you lived in LA? At least 5 years. It sounds like, right?
6 years, 7 years.
Holy shit! You've only been once the whole time.
Yeah.
Is it just not your jam, or?
No, it's just that it's expensive and I don't want to wait in line.
That's extremely fair. When I was living down there, you know what's funny? I've been to Disneyland a hell of a lot of times in my life, and for the years that I lived in LA, I think I only went like one time when I actually was living down there.
Yeah. My friends took me around and it was really fun. But in Canada, we had a place called Wonderland, and Wonderland was all roller coasters. It was I should go to Six Flags is what I should do.
Six Flags is legit. Have you not been to Magic Mountain?
No.
Oh, I don't know if it's expensive these days because even that's been a few years since I've been. But what's nice about that compared to Disneyland is just it's Disneyland. So because of that, it is insane long rides and it's insane prices. Six Flags, like you actually get theoretically kind of more fun. They're just not as magical rides, but you get actual thrill rides, which I'm way
I
more
like
kind of
those.
into. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
me
it's
too.
like less, the lines are still long, but they go through them so quickly because like every ride is like you're loading like 50 fucking people in each of those
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, I like thrill rides. I like roller coasters. So I
Yeah.
guess Space Mountain would have been my favorite.
Space
Disney.
Space Mountain is legit. I more roller coasters in the dark, please. That's just fucking
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah. Okay. So we are at the hour mark, so we're gonna play 2 quick games and then we'll send
Okay.
you on your way here. So the first one we're gonna do, did you ever play the classic game MASH when you were a kid?
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna play MASH.
Okay.
Are you ready to do this classic MASH here? So what I need from you is 3 dream jobs and 1 nightmare job.
Okay. 3 dream jobs. I'm like literally gonna just be narcissistic and say what I want to do. Okay. Actor,
Okay.
comedian, um, ooh, a rock and roll singer.
Oh hell fucking yeah. Okay.
And nightmare job would be a janitor.
Your dad's
Sorry, because janitors
personal laundry person.
yeah, I'm just not good at cleaning. It's nothing against what you do. I just
Yeah.
don't want to clean.
3 dream cities to retire to and 1 nightmare city.
Okay. Retire to. Dream cities.
Retire to, like settle down in.
Yeah. Barbados.
Oh shit. Okay.
Italy. I'm really going fancy.
I like it's technically a city, and I like that you're choosing countries, but that I'm into it because
What?
yeah, who gives a
Yeah.
fuck, right?
It doesn't matter. It's a place, okay? I don't want to be specific.
Yeah.
Do you really want to know the city in Barbados? Would you even know? what
I
it
would not
was?
know.
Yeah. And oh yeah, 3. Another city that I'd want to retire in. I guess I would like to. I guess I would retire in. Damn. I'm trying to think of somewhere with an ocean that's pretty, but this is tough. I'll just say New Orleans.
Okay.
For some music. And then worst city would be. See, the problem is I'm from Canada, right? So all these places I'm like thinking of, like, I would hate to. Yeah, they're all Canadian.
Which province were you from, out of curiosity?
Toronto. I'm from Ontario.
Okay. Okay. Nice.
But like having to like retire in Winnipeg would be awful. Yeah.
All right. We'll put Winnipeg. Tell me 3 of your favorite colors and then your least favorite color.
Red. Purple.
Red.
Red is my number 1 favorite color.
Oh shit. Okay.
Red, purple, and oh man, I don't have another one. Okay, let's say my worst color, diarrhea brown, and then I'm gonna say olive for the other color, the good color.
My phone auto corrected diarrhea to diabetes, so I guess I don't know. Diabetes brown. Okay, so it's 3 dream cars and a nightmare car, but you can also do like any modes of transportation that you want.
Okay. Jaguar.
Oh, nice.
Catamaran.
Oh. Catamaran. Dream scenario, the catamaran. I love it.
It's a mode of transportation.
Yeah,
It takes you
absolutely.
places. And I guess I would do a BMW convertible.
All right.
And then worst would be a skateboard.
Nice. That would be terrible if that was like
That'd be
your
all.
your for the rest of your life. It's like
Yeah.
that's what you're going around in. Okay. Um. So this one is like your crushes, like 3 of your crushes and one nightmare person. It could be real people in your life. You could choose your boyfriend. You can choose a celebrity, a character, whoever. Like the
Okay.
3 people you'd want to get married to.
Okay. Will Arnett, which is like a new crush of mine that never was a crush.
Really? What tipped the boat? Because that's kind of like a late in life, late in his career, kind
Yeah,
of crush to develop.
I didn't want to admit it. I keep being like, fuck, I have a crush on him and it sucks. Smartless, the podcast, he's so
Yeah.
witty on it.
Is he?
And yeah, he's witty and mean and I love it. And
All
I'm like,
right.
oh, I have a crush on this guy.
How'd it happen?
Could happen. Wouldn't it be so funny if I like named
All 3 the guys
all
that host
three
that.
villains? No, if I like named like comics, and I was like, I have a crush on this person, but I'm like, no, you guys are gross.
What I always was gonna say, it'd be so fucked up if I was like, you could choose your boyfriend, and you're like, no, but you start listing like his best friends or like people you guys know.
I know. I'm like, do I have to? Fine, I'll put him down. Matt, whatever. Maybe I'll do some ex-boyfriends just to spice it up and see what
Oh,
happens.
shit. Well, and then if they get picked, we'll have to text them right now. See what they're up to.
Yeah.
See if they're down to go to Barbados. If Barbados
Yeah.
is chosen.
Okay, well, let me do one more famous person, and then I'll do an ex as the bad person.
Okay.
I'm gonna do. Honestly, this sounds so basic, but I met him in real life, and he was charming as fuck. Brad Pitt.
You met Brad Pitt?
Yeah, I physically ran into him, and he was so charming, and I was like, oh my god. And like I know everyone would say Brad Pitt, but it wasn't until I saw him in real life, and he was so like whimsical that I was like, oh my god. So
Caitlin isn't here to flag me for bringing this up for like the millionth time on the show, but when I went and saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Did you see that movie?
yeah,
When he like does like that crazy sit to jump up to that roof and like takes his shirt off, there was like across the entire theater like an audible gasp of like
no,
men, women, children of all ages alike when he took his shirt off. Like people, he still has like a crazy fucking effect on human beings.
yeah, he's so like my friend worked with him, and he's so normal.
Yeah, well that's good.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's do the bad one. Okay, I'll do an ex-boyfriend. Andrew.
Andrew, did we get a third crush? I got Will Arnett and Brad Pitt.
Oh, Matt, my fucking boyfriend. So boring.
We like see he's like in the YouTube chat right now, just like
Yeah,
a sad emoji face. Okay. We have this is the number of kids section. So you have to pick
Oh.
3 ideal number of children you'd have and 1 non-ideal number of children you'd have.
Okay. 1, 2. God, 3. I guess it's gonna be like 0.
You could choose 0 too if you want to. You and Andrew could potentially have 0 children.
0 kids. Okay. Let's do 1, 2, 0, and 6.
Ugh, 6.
Yeah, 6.
Okay, 3 dream pet animals and a nightmare animal.
A dog. A goat.
I owned 2 miniature goats, and they
Yeah.
were actually very troublesome, but they were very fun.
Oh,
But they literally started like chewing on the side of my house.
oh my god.
I know they're so cool and they're so chill, but they just will chew and eat. So like it's literally they'll like just start chewing into a fucking like house if you don't like properly pen them.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. An owl.
Ooh.
And then a not good
And-
a rat.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Gross.
Rat somehow autocorrected to Ray. Everybody does not like Raymond. Okay, I'm going to draw a spiral. You tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Okay. We're putting it through the mash automator right now.
Oh no.
Oh, no, quite the opposite, my friend. After graduation, oh, sweet, I guess you're going to be graduating too. You get a job as a comedian in Barbados. That's already sick. That's probably like how many comedians are really on the island.
That's so sick.
You drive around town in your dream car, an olive green BMW convertible.
Whoa,
Again, that's pretty sick.
chill.
You fall madly in love with Brad Pitt.
Obviously.
You get married. You live together in a house, which is legit that you got the house with one kid and a pet owl. That's like you.
Yo, this is the best life ever.
I just took a screenshot of it. I'll share it on the Instagram later. That you cannot ask for like a better fucking MASH result than that.
No, 100%.
That's fucking sweet. The owl was like even that part's like sick because you just have like your one kid, you have your Brad Pitt, and then you have like your owl. You could wear like that glove thing.
Owl?
Yeah.
And in Barbados? That's amazing.
And you're a comedian on Barbados,
Yeah.
and I have to imagine like you're just always not even doing like middle work. You're just always like full on like the headliner every night.
That's the best.
Yeah. Shit.
Wow.
Well,
I need to manifest that.
good. Our apologies to Matt, but looks like he got some. How quickly we're just like, who the fuck is that?
Honestly, if God came down and was like, hey, this could be it, I'd be like, this is great, but like, I'm moving on.
You like tell your agent tomorrow, like, can you reach out to Brad Pitt's people, tell him that this
Yeah.
exciting game of MASH happened last night.
I picked him.
Okay. We are almost done for the evening. We're going to end as we always do with a personality quiz. Caitlin's not here, but she's here in spirit. We scour the depths of the internet looking for the latest and greatest in personality quizzes. And this one, sometimes we just pick a random one because I didn't want everything to be too dad themed. So I decided to choose What Emoji Are You?, which was developed by Isabel P. 2011 on December 26th. So I'm guessing, as Caitlin and I discuss often, we believe that most of these personality quizzes are developed by preteens. I'm guessing she was on Christmas break.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably got like an iPhone for the first time or a smartphone. So like she was so in love with all the emojis that she immediately made a personality quiz that was like, what emoji are you guys? 9 people like it. So let's see. Out of the 8,000 that have taken it, 9 people like it. All right, we got 10 questions here. Let's do this. What kind of treat is your favorite? We got cake, cupcake, cookie, or hot cocoa?
Cookie.
Cookie, okay. What kind of cookie?
Chocolate chip.
Nice, classic.
Snickerdoodle.
Ooh, that was close. We almost locked you in with the chocolate chip.
Yeah.
How would your friends describe you? Kind, greedy, leader, follower, or how would I know?
What's leer?
Leader, follower, and leader.
Oh. How would I know?
Yes, how would you?
I love this kid.
Isabel P. Snacks anyone? Question mark. And then here are the 4 options they wrote.
Let's see.
Bag of chips, burgers, candy, or I'm full.
Chips.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, chips.
Thirsty? Question mark. Then we got Coke, chocolate milk, blended hot dog, or hot sauce.
What a punk. I'll do chocolate milk. What a sicko. This girl's going to be a killer when she grows up.
Well, okay. Oh, she pulled a classic one. This is always great. So when they sometimes will throw this kind of question in the middle of everything, again, the name of the quiz was What Emoji Are You? And by the way, I'm trying to like combat this like nearly full page ad that just popped up on this like ancient website, but I had to like just scroll just right to see the options because it's taking up that much of the screen. The question is, what emoji do you like? Which feels like it's leading the quiz taker, but what emoji do you like? The salsa dancer, the winky face, the hard eyes, or none of those?
The winky face.
Yeah, okay. This ad
Girl,
is killing me.
stupid.
Isabel.
It was going downhill when she said blended hot dog.
Yeah, there's always like a question in the middle of it where you realize like, okay, they started to get a little bored or it got really late in the night. Favorite song? Anything from Disney. Shake It Off by Taylor Swift. Cherry Bomb. Oh, Runaways, classic. Or These Are Terrible.
Shake it off.
All right. This I apologize both to you and to the listeners at home. This ad is like redonkulously like in the way. You said shake it off, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I can't. There we go. I can't even begin to describe like how much of the page this stupid ad is taking, and I have to get the thing scrolled just right. Instruments? ? There's only 3 options: violin, trumpets, or harp.
Trumpets.
That's the
She was
all of.
getting really tired.
Yeah. Outfits. Yeah, we got another 3 here. Here are your outfits: dress, t-shirt and jeans, or hoodie, short sleeve, and jeans. Which is the same thing, but with a hoodie, I guess. So do you want a dress, a shirt and jeans, or a shirt and jeans and a hoodie?
I can do shirt, jeans, and a hoodie.
Yeah, this classic. What food do you hate? We get into the negative part. We got cheese, spinach, broccoli, or none of the above.
Broccoli. I hate broccoli.
Ugh, get out of here, broccoli. Okay, and then, and on a positive note, Isabel, you kill me here. What food do you love? Burgers, fries, both, or none? I guess that to like okay, I have to imagine. I know we always said they're like preteen, but I have to imagine this kid's like real young. Like their
Yeah, this kid's
worldview.
like 10. I hope.
Their worldview is like, oh yeah, it's like a 45-year-old woman.
There's like 2 foods in life, and it's burgers and fries, both of them or none. I'm gonna go fries.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh wait, what do I hate or what do I love?
What do you love? What do you love?
Okay.
Okay, fries. All right, here we go. We're gonna throw these into the test automator. Doodly 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 doo. What emoji are you? I'm sorry. As a reminder, earlier you said winky face was your favorite emoji. And it says, what emoji are you? Your favorite is the salsa dancer. So even when you do a hard no, you don't like that one. You still got salsa dancer. But here she wrote a little description. You are a real go-getter. You will do anything for a friend when they ask. Which that hits on like 2 fucking themes that we hit on tonight, which was that you are a real go-getter because 3 different tables told you to go get that stand-up comedian gig, and you're like, sure. And you said yourself that you would do anything for your friends.
Yeah.
We always talk about this on the show, Caitlin and I, but oddly, we do these tests and we'll always kind of like laugh and be like, these kids are fucking idiots, and we'll do them, and you'll get the test results and be like, whatever. But the description always oddly actually hits the person, like where like they actually are.
That's so funny.
Isabel, she might be 10, but she's like a little mystical sage on the rise. She just has to like hone her powers. Like it'll get to her in time. Like nowadays, like now it'll be like something like, oh, what are your food options? Like poutine and this, that. Like she gets a little bit more advanced.
Well, also like the description just like was kind of short.
Yeah. Well, hey, she got it. And I guess salsa dancer, that is your official emoji. So go out there and start using it everywhere you want to go.
I think I will.
Excellent.
Thanks for that.
Well, yeah. Well, Nikki, speaking of thanks, thank you for being willing to come on the show and answer all these crazy questions and take all these crazy games and quizzes. Before we wrap up for the evening, is there anything you'd like to plug and point the people towards?
Yeah, Whoa Dad. It's on Spotify and iTunes. And I have a Patreon, Nikki Bond, patreon.com/Nikki Bond, where I post like emails, are painful emails, and shit gets real. But also funny videos that I won't post like online, and things that I'm like, I'm not giving away this for free.
Yeah.
That happened between us. And what else? Instagram, Nikki Bond, and I'm also Whoa Dads on Instagram as well. YouTube.com/Nikki Bond.
Hell yeah. All the places. I highly insist y'all go check out both their Instagram, really funny videos and clips they post on there all the time, and definitely go check out the podcast. It's been so hilarious to dig through it, and your dad is a character, but you two oddly like have like a great back and forth, and it's real great. So I'm excited to see where y'all go next with your wacky adventures in father-daughter craziness.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for having me. This was really fun.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you to everyone that was on the YouTube, and thank you to all those that sent the questions. Caitlin, wherever you are out there, we wish you well. Can't wait for you to come back. Again, Nikki, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm going to say goodnight. Good night, Nikki. Have a good rest of your evening.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.